armed gang member accused of carjacking a vehicle with a 7-year-old inside was shot and wounded by a deputy in Encinitas Monday afternoon, sheriff's officials said. When the car pulled over at the end of a short chase, the suspect jumped out and ran, then turned around and aimed a gun at a deputy running after him, Sheriff's Homicide Lieutenant Ken Nelson said. The deputy, whose name was not released, fired at least 4 shots. He said Joseph Ramos, 34, was possibly struck twice, suffering gunshot wounds that were not considered life-threatening. The child and father whose vehicle was carjacked were not hurt. Decorative contrast stitching adds flair to our extra soft tumbled leather slip-on shoes from Clark's, while stretch side gores and cushioning technology ensure all-day comfort. Technology Cush. Seymour Ramos, who had a warrant out for his arrest, was wanted in a string of North County residential burglaries in which authorities said he stole firearms. It was unknown in which city Ramos lives. El Cajon City Council meeting October 11, 2016. On Monday, deputies spotted him acting suspiciously shortly before 2:30 p.m. on Orchardwood Road south of Oliva N Road, Nelson said. Deputies recognized him as a documented gang member and knew he was wanted. They thought he might be getting ready to commit another burglary, Nelson said. When deputies approached him, Ramos got into a black truck and led deputies on a brief pursuit. They decided to slow down and follow him from a distance when the chase endangered other motorists, Nelson said. Deputies caught up to Ramos at Rancho Santa Fe Road near Manchester Avenue, where they saw him get into a 2-door Toyota Scion, Nelson said. At that point, deputies were unaware Ramos had carjacked the vehicle or that a 7-year-old was inside. They happened to get there just as the carjacking was being completed and he is getting into the car and driving off, Nelson said. He did not know whether Ramos brandished a gun in the carjacking. Deputies followed the car until it pulled over on North Coast Highway 101 south of La Costa Avenue. Ramos got out of the front passenger side and ran, with at least one deputy chasing him. About 50 feet from the car, Ramos turned around and aimed a gun at the deputy who was at his heels, Nelson said. The deputy fired and struck Ramos. Investigators don't believe Ramos fired his gun. Deputies took him into custody and provided first aid until paramedics arrived. He was taken to a hospital and was expected to survive. A handgun was recovered and seen in the dirt shoulder of the northbound lanes of North Coast Highway 101 across from Bar Lucadian, just west of the train tracks in the area. Jennifer Cushing owns a Carlsbad pizza company and was delivering an order at Bar Lucadian when she had sirens blaring outside. She said she looked out of the window and saw a silver car that was stopped by a deputy in a sheriff's SUV. Other motorists had pulled over to get out of the way, Cushing said. She noticed the driver of the car and a young boy in the back seat put up their hands as a man covered in tattoos ran out of the front passenger seat. The suspect had a duffel bag in his left hand and what appeared to be a gun in his right hand, Cushing said. The deputy chased the suspect, repeatedly instructing him to get on the ground, she said. The suspect looked over his right shoulder several times and did not see the deputy, who was running to the left of him, Cushing said. At one point the suspect turned around and faced the deputy, who opened fire, she said. She said she did not see the suspect aim the gun at the deputy. The suspect collapsed and rolled back and forth on his stomach before he was handcuffed. Other deputies who had arrived began cutting his clothes to find his wounds and provide first aid, Cushing said. The driver of the car walked with a deputy to a patrol vehicle while another deputy carried the boy out of the car. The most emotional part was seeing the officers go to the silver vehicle, get that young boy out and get him to safety, Cushing said. North Coast Highway was shut down in both directions between La Costa Avenue and Jupiter Street. The North County Transit District said train service was suspended between Poinsettia Lane and Encinitas Boulevard. The agency planned to use a bus to transfer people from one train station to the other. The coaster commuter trains were delayed up to 2 hours from scheduled time as of 6 p.m.